Thank you so much for joining us for Way 31 News Midday on this Friday. I'm Chris Tatum, and leading our coverage you can count on at midday. We are just under 2 hours right now from a gag order hearing in the case of a former Decatur police officer charged with killing Steve Perkins. Now, the judge will decide, among other things, whether to extend his current temporary gag order in that case. You can see right there my co-anchor Demetria Green and Way 31 reporter Paige Meyer, both live for us right now at the Morgan County Courthouse awaiting the start of that hearing. Let's go first to Demetria, though. Demetria, the judge has a lot to consider in this case today.
Yeah, the judge does have a lot to consider, Chris, and that gag order hearing, it starts around 1:30. And the Morgan County District Attorney Scott Anderson says his key goal is to make sure no more information gets leaked out to the public. Now, this case did garner a lot of national attention, and it's after the police shooting death of Steve Perkins last September. That's why the DA does not want anything leaked that could affect this upcoming murder trial of former officer Mac Marquette. Now, Way 31 talked to a Huntsville attorney who is not associated with this case, but he says the gag orders affect juror impartiality.
And when you have a high-profile case, that tends to you have a lot of publicity. Naturally, you have a lot of publicity. So when you start striking a jury, and let's say you have 100 prospective jurors, the first question is going to be asked is how many of you have read, seen, or heard anything about this case? And 95 people raise their hand. The 5 that don't, you're going to discharge them because they're not telling the truth.
Hold on.
And several Decatur police officers will be here along with City Councilman Hunter Pepper for this hearing today. But I do want to go now live over to Paige Meyer, who is at the Decatur Police Department. And Paige, just kind of walk us through how we got to this point.
Demetria, that leaked body camera footage started circulating the internet back in March. Just one day later, the state issued a temporary gag order to prevent several people from discussing the Steve Perkins case. Now, 13 Decatur city officers, including Police Chief Todd Pinion, are listed on that temporary order. On Monday this week, the city tried to get rid of those subpoenas, claiming the employees had no information that would be relevant to a permanent order. Now, that request was denied by a judge, and they still have to testify today. Now, former officer Marquette's attorney also asked the court to deny the state's motion for the permanent gag order and terminate the temporary order. It was denied yesterday. Now, I have been in communication with the Perkins family, who are understandably pretty anxious heading into today. Now, Nicholas Perkins, Steve Perkins' brother, tells me he will be attending all of the hearings today. Make sure to stick with Way 31 News for updates. Reporting live in Decatur with coverage you can count on. Paige Meyer, Way 31 News. Demetria?
Now, thank you, Paige. Do keep in mind that Marquette's attorneys say that this permanent gag order could affect his defense. And he is actually one of 4 officers. He's the only one who's actually charged with murder in this case. The other 2, they were fired, and there was 1 who was suspended. Now, keep in mind that this hearing does start at 1:30. Way 31 will be here all this afternoon in order to update you with more on this hearing. Reporting live in Decatur with coverage that you can count on, Demetria Green, Way 31 News.